There's not one guy, one person in the history of this program that's bigger than the program.
What's better than this?
Oh, what's up? And welcome into episode number 140 of the Program Guys podcast. My name is Mason Prince. Joined with you as always by Matt Gann, Mark Hall, Patrick Hertzberger. Today is Wednesday, September 18th. Be sure to like, subscribe on our YouTube channel. You can follow us on all of our social media at Program Guys with a Z on our Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. You can also find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, wherever you get your podcast. That's where you can find us. Gentlemen, good to be back with you. The Oklahoma Sooners are 3-0. They take on the number 6 ranked Tennessee Volunteers. Patrick Hertzberger's Tennessee Volunteers.
That's right.
That's Norman, right. Oklahoma.
That's
on
right.
At 6:30 p.m. on Saturday, September 21st. College game day is going to be there. The Tennessee Volunteers are a 7-point favorite as it stands right now on Tuesday night as of this record. First things first, how are we feeling, Matt? Just opening vibes. How are the vibes?
It's the SEC, baby. This is what we live for. These types of games, these types of atmospheres. Now it feels real, right? The first couple of weeks, okay, you're playing Tulane, you're getting a feel for the new team, but now it's big boy football. We have now transitioned into the best conference. We're going to play highly ranked teams each and every week, starting with the real UT, Tennessee Volunteers coming into town.
The real UT, he says, Mark.
Yep, I was at the game in Norman the last time Tennessee came to town, and while that was out of conference matchup, the environment was completely electric. The stands were full. If it's anything like it was last time, we will not have a problem with the student section leaving early. It is going to be insane when you walk through the gates. I really hope that the play on the field is able to maintain that as well. I think that is what we're all sort of grappling with this week.
Tennessee's a great program. Some news before we get to the game itself, I guess. Bob Stoops comes out early in the week saying he's not doing any interviews because of his ties to both Brent and Josh. And he thinks it wouldn't be fair to talk about both of them, and the focus should be on both of them and their respective programs. Thought that was really cool from Bob. We heard from Danny Stutzman. Danny Stutzman or during practice this week, during his media availability, kind of backhandedly challenged the fans, asking them to say what Mark said, kind of show up and not leave early and be there for the entirety of the game. And I think there's 2 ways to look at that. Number one, if the game is good and you're playing a good opponent, I feel like people are more inclined to stay. And also shut up and just stay no matter what. Like that's kind of what it is for me. I don't know how you guys took it.
Well, let's also, no one here hasn't done the same thing. Like,
sure.
Hey, raise your hand if you've never left a game because it was hot and the game felt over. None of our hands got raised there. I think that there's some bit of like, hey, everyone stay for the game. And also, I can understand not being there the entirety of a 3-hour contest that started at 2:30 in the middle of a 90-plus degree day in Norman. This week, 6:30 on a Saturday night? Look, it'll be warm. I'm not telling you it's not going to be warm, but the sun will be mostly gone for that game, and it's going to feel amazing.
Yeah.
It'll be hot, but it'll be good hot.
The weather for the Houston game could not have been more perfect during a night game, and people bailed out early for that game as well. So I that's not a great look, especially considering how close the game for whatever reason was. Hopefully the fans figure it out because Tennessee fans are going to be out there in full force, Matt.
They're not leaving early.
No, and you can expect a whole lot of them. Maybe 8, 9, 10,000 Tennessee Volunteers going to be entering Norman, Oklahoma and Gaylord Family Memorial Stadium to cheer on their Volunteers who have, to Brent Venables' point, looked like the best team in the country so far in his presser a little bit earlier today. So this is going to be a very tall task entering the SEC, playing one of the better teams. Again, maybe they haven't played as stiff competition, but they looked as good as anyone executing on both sides of the football. It's going to be a tall task for both sides for OU this weekend.
I wanted to find a tweet because I thought it was funny, and I want to give this person credit if I can find it. And unfortunately, of course, I can't. He said something along the lines of the Nick Anderson, who else is coming back from Kendall Dolby and someone else stimulus package.
McCullough.
Deshaun
Oh,
McCullough,
Hickman, Jake Taylor.
Yeah. I
Number of
think I
guys.
think it was Hickman. I think it was Nick Anderson, Hickman, and someone else on offense, whether it was along the offensive line or wide receiver room. But
Anthony.
basically calling it the stimulus package here. That's getting approved this week. So that would be cool. There's just no way that Nick Anderson doesn't play this week, especially going through all the warmups that he did. I don't know if Brent confirmed that for sure today or not. I didn't.
I haven't seen it.
Check. It doesn't seem like him to confirm that. I mean, they have to do the injury report later in the week. I assume that's going to do the talking for him. So I would be obviously on the lookout for that. But how much does we kind of touched on it on Sunday in the post game pod, but we've had a few days to kind of stew about it. Mark, what does Nick Anderson just add to this offense that has been so stagnant at times?
So I'll throw Andrell in there also.
Yeah, okay.
Because to me, if you get even one of those guys back, and it seems like we're gonna get two, I think the greatest thing that you get, the greatest benefit, is actually just that it bumps everyone else down a rung. And we're not going to see the freshmen having to be in there on pivotal snaps in the same kind of ways that we've seen the first 3 games of the season. From a dynamic on the field standpoint, it changes everything. Nick Anderson, 6'4", with Jaden Gibson out, with Ivan Carrion being, a freshman. He's our only really reliable, tall player that we've seen make plays out there. And the dynamic of what you can do with a guy like Nick is just a little bit different than a Deion Burks or a Andrell Anthony, like I said, but another guy in Anthony that's 6'1", not 5'9", 5'7", the way that some of these guys are. Getting Nick back, getting Andrell, just a savvy route runner, someone who is going to stop on a dime, lose the defender, get himself open. That allows Deion Burks to then play his most natural position, the slot receiver that is just trying to get open on every single down. Hopefully we'll see a more optimized version of Jackson and Deion just by virtue of Nick being on the field, even if he's not 100%.
What do you think, Matt?
I'll take it a step further. Stretching the field vertically. We need to see more deep throws, explosive plays. That's where Nick Anderson can really stretch the defense. Because again, if you watch Tulane in the second half, majority of their defenders are within 10 yards, 12, 15 yards of the ball because they're not worried about Jackson Arnold throwing the deep ball. And even when we've seen Jackson Arnold throw the deep ball, it hasn't been to the right receiver, or it's not even been close to a catchable ball. It's just been out of bounds or to the sideline. Nick Anderson, hopefully Andrell Anthony, if he can come back, can really help stretch vertically to Mark's point, let those underneath guys have a little bit more space and room. We need to have some more of those explosive plays and to be able to stretch the field. If not, Tennessee is going to eat our lunch all day long.
I'm very intrigued to see what Nick Anderson looks like when he comes back and how available he is. Like, what does Nick Anderson being back truly mean? Like, are we back full go? Like, he's not limited on a snap count? Or are we going to put him in certain situations, like Mark mentioned, on a third down where you got to have a conversion and I need my best players out there. So Nick, you're going to be out there even though you didn't play first or second down. That's kind of what I'm curious to see. You get the feeling though that it's going to be pretty much full go. I feel like it has to be for Nick Anderson at this point. I just feel like there's no other option. You don't have one. You can't afford to put a snap count on Nick Anderson in this game. You just can't.
I don't think I think that the conversation around him last week was such that he was close enough, probably could have played if it was a different game, a game that mattered a little bit more, and they were saving him more for this week. That's what I'm choosing to believe, because if he's limited still, then that offense is just not going to get off the ground.
And we're already in it. So like, let's just keep talking about the offense. I suppose Branson Hickman also rumored to be back this week. Matt, what does he add to the offensive line? You've kind of hinted at some best combinations at what the line looked like on Saturday. But what if if Hickman is in this
I'm a
lineup,
Brickman.
what does he add to this unit?
Yeah, I think it's Hickman and potentially Jake Taylor at right tackle to help
Right.
solidify that line, which we saw last week, especially on the left side, have a lot of gaps, a lot of missed gap assignments. Hopefully, with Hickman being that anchored position at center to help pass protection, but as well as set that line to where it needs to be and provide that stability that we just haven't seen since his injury, can really help give Jackson a little bit more time so it doesn't seem like Jackson has to be rushed or thrown into a panic where he's got to use his legs to escape the pocket. Tennessee is just too athletic on the defensive line, especially with their linebacking core, to be able to escape and get away from the pocket. Maybe there could be occasions when that happens and Jackson will need to use his legs, but hopefully those two guys coming back can really help steady up this line because they're going to have it in for him all day long.
Jackson Arnold, the current leading rusher for the team, Mark.
Yep, and I imagine he's going to be running the football out of some not planned scenarios, some not designed runs a little bit more this week than we've seen from Jackson. Going to have to rely on him to be able to get out of the pocket a little bit, step up into the pocket a little bit, and know when it's time to keep your eyes downfield and get the pass off versus knowing when it's time to tuck the ball, never ever lower your shoulder again, but go get some yards and slide on the ground. I think that Jackson has shown us he's got a pretty good ability to read that in real time. Between that and just that quick read option, man, sometimes if you can get those bat or defensive ends thinking about whether or not they're coming up the field or not, you can get them on other plays too. I think that between that read option and undesigned runs, we're going to see a lot out of Jackson that doesn't even necessarily have to do with who's at wide receiver on any given play. The offensive line, we just can't count on it. And with James Pierce and the guys coming over on that Tennessee defensive line, they're fresh as hell. They played Kent State. Like they've been not played teams, just like we haven't, but we're all banged up. They're healthy, and Jackson's going to have to avoid that.
Yeah, I think Jackson has a really good shot at having a really good game. I think this is the best unit that will be in front of him will be on Saturday. And that's the best unit he's had since the season started. And I'm really looking forward to seeing what that looks like for him. In terms of the run game for Jackson. I completely agree. No one's going to disagree with you, Mark, that he should slide more. Like if you're going to run, you have to protect yourself. Like that's just what it's going to have to be. I think also what needs to be addressed is some of that quick passing game we saw with Deion Burks. Maybe that needs to continue because we know what this defensive line for Tennessee brings to the table. And you know what your offensive line brings as of now. It's not great. And it's arguably the worst matchup on the field for Oklahoma at this point. Is Tennessee's defensive line against Oklahoma's offensive line. So I think we need to get the ball out of Jackson's hands quicker, give him better opportunities to hit on that quick passing game. But like Matt kind of mentioned, the deep balls, when he does throw them, haven't been all that accurate. Now, is that due to guys not being open, or is that due to Jackson trying to throw them open? Regardless, you can't throw the ball out of bounds and expect your guys to catch it. Like you're going to have to give them some opportunity to do so. And no one gets more opportunities on jump balls and 50-50 balls than Nick Anderson. So we will definitely see what he adds. And the last thing I kind of have to add is my duo for the running back room is just, it's got to be Javonte Barnes and Taylor Tatum. I'm sorry. I've seen 3 games of Gavin Sawchuk and it's just not enough right now. It's just
I think everyone's on the same page with who's looked good in the running back room. I don't see anyone right now calling for more Gavin Sawchuk. And I loved Gavin last year. I thought he was going to be great this season, but he can't overcome the troubles up front the way some of these other guys have been able to. That's just part and parcel with his game is the hole needs to be there for him to run through.
Yeah.
Matt, what do you think about the running back room?
It's got to be enough. It's got to be to a point where it's respectable, where Jackson Arnold, when he does get into those read option situations, whether he's going to keep it or he's reading the edge, because Tennessee's arguably got one of the best players in the country in James Pierce coming off the edge. And I'm sure he was watching tape of last week, what Tulane was doing. He's going to be on that left side quite a bit, hungry to come after the quarterback. Tennessee's defense has only had 4 sacks through the first 3 weeks, which is a little bit surprising. And again, probably fresh players don't have to play as much, maybe more vanilla packages just because they haven't played the quality of talent, but they have had a lot of pass breakups, over 13, and a couple fumble recoveries as well. But they haven't turned a lot of teams over in the last few weeks. I think they've just done it purely by their offensive firepower, putting down early. But the offensive line is going to have to give enough push. Hopefully, having Hickman and Jake Taylor brings that extra umph and energy, that nastiness and grit to have the run game be respectable, to give Jackson Arnold enough time to find the holes in between the linebackers, bring them up. But the run game's got to be there. If we become one-dimensional, it's going to be a field day for James Pierce and company.
13 points allowed for Tennessee's defense through 3 games, Mark.
Yeah, against hold on, I've got them all here.
Yeah.
That's against Chattanooga and NC State, who respectable opponent. No shade there at all. And Kent State. I think that all 3 of the teams we played are better than the teams that they've played. So I'm very interested to see. I mean, obviously, I don't think Temple's better than NC State, but I think that our stretch has been stronger than theirs. The last thing that I wanted to get to on the offensive side, sort of getting into something you said earlier with the quicker plays, Mason, I think, and I hate it, we all hate it, but how do you neutralize? What's one of the ways to neutralize a pass rush? It's getting the ball out quick, and it is moving laterally. It's going to expect to see swing passes and screen passes and everyone's favorite jet sweeps, because that's one of the ways where if you can get your guys upfield quick, defensive line doesn't really mess with you.
Yeah, I completely agree. This Tennessee defense, the defensive line is the main talk of what they bring to the table, and it should be, but we'll see. I mean, this is easily the best team both of these teams have played. Oklahoma is the best test for Tennessee. Tennessee is the best test for Oklahoma so far this season. It's going to be fun. It's going to be a good measuring stick to see where both of these teams are right now, because Tennessee is a great team. Brent will admit as such. And the offense, as we know with Tennessee, has been putting up some ungodly numbers. And as we switch over to the Tennessee offense, not even going to bother with the last name. He pronounced it this week for people, and I'm not even going to try. I'm just not. Matt is though.
Don't even let me try. That's one thing. But I'll tell you, this offense is explosive on all 3 levels. Have a great offensive line, really good running back room, and Nico throws it deep and likes to throw it deep, and he's got plenty of receivers to do it. Already through 3 games, they've generated over 900 passing yards and 1,000 yards on the ground. They have 4 different receivers who have over 100 yards and 4 running backs over 100 yards, which their top guy, Sampson, 45 carries, 357, averaging 7 yards per carry and over 10 yards a clip.
He already has 9. He already has 9 touchdowns.
Yeah, that's where we need to be.
That's
worried about.
We
all know
so
about
crazy.
Nico.
Yeah,
everyone knows about Nico, right?
Yeah.
But Heupel's going to spread our shit out and run the ball with Dylan Sampson, and Danny Stutzman needs to be ready to have a game.
Yeah.
Kobe McKenzie needs to be ready to have a game.
This is, and I'm glad you bring that up, Mark, because this is an opportunity for, and Matt, but you brought up the linebackers, which is kind of what sticks out to me. Is this is the opportunity for Danny Stutzman to have that Danny Stutzman marquee game that he had last year, but for whatever reason wasn't on a big enough level for people to notice. If you want to win a Butkus Award, this is the game where you come out and you have the 12 tackles like you normally do, but you have it stuffing the run. And I tell you what, with the linebacking group, the way that Danny and Kobe McKenzie and Kip Lewis and even Jared Kanak at times, have been playing downhill and filling the right gaps, I like what I see out of that. And Tennessee's a great rushing team. I'm not taking anything away from them. I'm just saying this is a really, really good linebacking group. And they are coached up and they are smart and they know their job. And I am going to be curious to see how this Tennessee offensive line can move the OU defensive line and try to get to that second level and get to these linebackers. Because if they don't get to them in time, I mean, we've seen this linebacking group, how quick they are, how quick they can get there. So it's going to be a lot of fun to watch. I agree with you, Mark. I think that's the matchup is the OU linebackers against the Tennessee offensive line and running backs. That is really going to make or break how this defense does. Patrick, since you join us, why don't you hop in, brother?
Yeah, what excites me the most about this matchup is what we're going to scheme up against that offensive line of Tennessee and how we're going to get to Nico in ways that the Tennessee team hasn't had happen yet to them and in ways that we haven't shown on film yet too. So I'm expecting a very exciting, a very complex scheming from our new defensive coordinator, Zach Alley.
Zach Alley calling the scheme that they've ran so far, quote unquote, vanilla up to this point. So that, to Patrick's point, got to make you feel good, Matt.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what I think is actually the biggest matchup is going to be the secondary versus these top-linked wide receivers who both have speed and height, power, quickness, everything that you would want out of a wide receiver core. I think the rushing defense, who has obviously shown so far this year being very prevalent in stopping the run, is okay, if we're going to be able to stop the run, can we get to the quarterback quick enough? Like we just talked about, bringing some exotic pressures and blitzes that we haven't seen before to make sure Nico does not have time to throw. And I think the secondary is going to get really challenged here. I have to actually, where I think I'm a lot more confident in the rushing D and our defensive line causing havoc and our linebackers. I'm more worried if Nico does have time, can our secondary cover a lot of explosive wide receivers? Because it's not just one guy like we've seen the last few weeks. I think the secondary is really going to where we're going to make or break. Because you saw last week they could have gave up a couple big plays downfield. Can't have that happen against Tennessee.
That's definitely a huge concern. When I watch Tennessee, they are extremely fast, faster than anything that we've played, more powerful than anything that we've played. And it's not going to be every couple plays Des Malone is targeted in a weird way, right? Every single play is going to be really important. Every single play is going to be something that Heupel's drawing up, and we need to cover. So
Go ahead,
I'm not
Mark.
sure this offense. Yeah, maybe I'm a little more bullish on our defense than I thought I was, but Tennessee hasn't played a defense anywhere close to what Oklahoma's bringing out there. And they're gonna beat us a handful of times. You know, it's gonna happen. Points will be given up, but it's not gonna be 51, I don't think. And that's the lowest Tennessee has on the season. Heupel knows how to put up points, but I think Brent is going to have some answers we haven't seen yet to problems that Tennessee thinks they're going to pose for us. I just think we've got guys. We've got guys coming back. We've got guys who've been playing well. Billy looks fantastic. Peyton looks fantastic. Eli Bowen is playing. Jacoby Johnson's getting in there. Gentry Williams might be coming back. Woody Washington's playing all over the field. Kendall Dolby's in the game. I mean, we've got guys that can match up. I think it's going to come down to, again, just offensive line, defensive line play. I really think in the secondary, we're going to be able to play with some of these receivers. Again, you get beat, but if we can maintain strength up front, force them to only pass the football in those situations, I think that's where you want to be.
You look at the best teams in the SEC that there have been. Look at the Kirby Smarts Georgias. Look at the Nick Saban Alabamas. What was their calling card on defense? Yeah, they had guys all over the field, guys, dogs everywhere. But dude, they were disciplined. They did not make mistakes. And that's what makes me feel so good about where we're at defensively. Famous last words, I know. But our linebackers are mature. They've been here. They know what is expected of them. You get Gentry Williams back, possibly another guy with experience in the secondary. You get Deshaun McCullough and Kendall Dolby back, both with experience. Like you're bringing dudes back who have games under their belt, starting games under their belt. I think this is how the way that Brent is building this is the correct way to do so. And this is your first test. It really is. Are you going to win every rep? Absolutely not. No way. Not against a team of this quality. And they're aware of that. Don't think that Brent and company and Zach Alley don't think that they're going to get burned a few times. The Tennessee team and the offense is too good not to do that. But aim for perfection. And if you miss a couple times, then you're still great. You know what I mean? But I would expect, I think Pat mentioned this, to dial up the pressure. I would expect to see a lot of the cheetah in the backfield trying to make some noise. I would not be surprised to see some exotic blitzes dialed up just to try to generate some sort of pressure. Because as we know, this Tennessee offensive line is very good. They're quality.
Lance Hurd, guy that Oklahoma fans might remember as a transfer portal tackle target over the summer, ended up choosing Tennessee Volunteers after Patrick personally called him and advised him to do that. So if he has a good game this week, know where to send your ire.
Let's just get it out of the way now, Patrick.
I'm here.
You, besides buying tickets, have you ever donated to the University of Tennessee Athletic Fund?
No, I have not.
Okay,
but
that's
not
better than I thought.
But
not in my defense, I haven't to the OU fund either. So
okay, that's fair. Sure.
Yeah,
and you've bought more OU tickets in your life than Tennessee tickets. So
100%.
So
not since meeting the Tennessee girl. Nope.
No.
Putting that down now. He met the Tennessee girl, and the hierarchy, we're off it. It's
Pat,
all orange now.
Remind me again, are you wearing black this weekend?
No, I'm actually wearing my red OU Hawaiian shirt.
Love it. Okay.
We'll be rocking it.
Love it.
Last thing on the defense, I assume we're going to the offense now.
Nope, you missed.
We've already done offense, but I'd love your. You should. I'd love your offense
for a moment.
Yeah, I'd love your offensive thoughts.
Well, it kind of relates to the defense too, because I know that the defense will put us in situations where they're gonna allow us to get momentum. Right? They're gonna make that big stop. Tennessee is gonna go 3 and out once or twice. It's going to happen. Those are the times where the offense really has to come out and execute to make sure that we continue to gain momentum throughout this game. I think that'll be a key part of this game. Our offense cannot sputter when the defense gives us the opportunity to make the momentum shifts throughout this game.
Pat, you have to pick. Go ahead, Mark.
That's a Branson Hickman thing, right? Yeah. That's a Nick Anderson thing. That's an Angelo Anthony thing. That's a Jake Taylor thing. Just adding that veteran stuff in there. What's
you got to pick 2 running backs who get the most carries, and honestly should get all of the carries. Who are they?
Taylor Tatum, and then second would be Taylor Tatum.
Okay.
I want him to get 90% of
I'm
the
fine
run
with that.
during
Honestly,
this game.
I'm
Use
not
him
angry
however you want. And I hope he's just been watching film, and his biggest weakness that I'm seeing is his blocking. When Jackson Arnold's throwing the ball, sure, maybe you go ahead and you put in a different running back during those times, but he's got to get the run of the ball from the start.
I agree with Patrick. I think he's got to. You got to feed him, and you got to feed him early.
He's got to block better. Otherwise, they know your tendency every time he's on the field. That's the problem with it.
Right.
I agree with that. Matt, anything else to add on the defense before we move on?
No, but I would like to hear, I don't know if we've done this yet so far this year, is name one thing we are looking forward to or want to see either out of the offense or the defense. Each one of us pick one thing. I would like to hear your guys' thoughts, what you're looking for in this game.
I'll start. I'd like to see if R. Mason Thomas can build off of what he did last week. If that was the start of R. Mason Thomas arc, or if that was the peak that we saw last week. Like, is that the best that we're going to get out of him, or is he just starting to kind of build momentum and get into something? I'm curious to see what that looks like, because they're going to leave him on an island at some points. How many battles can he win against a right tackle and try to get in the backfield? It's going to be curious to see.
Yeah, mine builds on that point with R. Mason Thomas coming out at the end of the game, and then Grayson Harris doing the same thing the week before against Halton, doing the same thing the week before. Is we've had one defensive guy make big stops towards the end of the game. I would like to see a collective group of guys make big stops throughout the game rather than just the last drive. I want constant pressure throughout this game and multiple dudes making plays rather than just one at the end of the game.
Chaos all over the defense, baby. I don't care if we get a single like technical sack, but I want pressure all night long. I want it to be coming in exotic ways. I want Brent to get nasty on him. You know, send both safeties and drop some linemen. Get freaky all over Josh Heupel and make him never want to return to Norman again. Also, this is not a love Josh Heupel podcast this week. Like some are doing that. This is we need to win this game, and this whole week ain't nothing different about that. Chaos on the defense, messing up Heupel's brain, baby. What you got, Matt?
Yeah, all great things. I would say one thing offensively is got to be third down conversions. We harp on that too much. Got to have sustained drives to not only help our defense out, but make sure that this offense can get into rhythm and do the play calling that Seth Luttrell wants to put in place to beat this Tennessee defense. So third down conversions, those are always going to be the biggest plays. And then defensively, it's got to win the turnover battle. We got to create extra opportunities and possessions for our offense, like we did in Temple, short fields. Give this offense just a little bit easier of a run instead of trying to have to go 80, 70 yards on the Tennessee defense. Those are the two things I'm looking out for. Those will be, I think, the biggest impacts for the game.
Let us know down below in the comments the one thing you're looking for in this game. What's the one big thing that you're looking for on offense or defense or both? You know, we read every single one of your comments. Boys, we'll get to final score predictions. Just real quick, this line as of now that I see on ESPN is Tennessee -7 on Tuesday night record. That's what I have.
Ooh, welcome to SEC country, baby.
I'll start because I have Oklahoma to cover, not because I have to, but because I believe they will. I think Oklahoma covers. I can't in good conscience. I wish I could, guys. I can't in good conscience pick Oklahoma to win. So I'm gonna go Tennessee 35, Oklahoma 31. That's my game pick. And I didn't trust me. I don't feel good about OU scoring 31 at all. I just don't. But that's kind of where I'm at.
Yeah, I'm the exact opposite. I have to pick OU to win. There's a lot of animosity in my household currently. Oklahoma 34, Tennessee 31. That's what's going to happen. I don't feel good about Oklahoma scoring 34 points either, but that's my score prediction.
In case you're wondering, me and Pat both taking the over at 52.5 as well, Mark.
I see 57.5, so that's a way different number. But
maybe I'm
looking
wrong.
In any case, my prediction, Oklahoma 31-28. We cover, we win, the over hits.
I love that. I love that. Mark,
go ahead, Matt.
Matt, life's too short to bet the under.
I know, but I'm actually nervous. I mean, this is probably the most nervous I've been for a football game, just because of such a big game early on that we're playing, and it's going to really change the course, I think, of the season. I'll give you Ryan just texted me. Ryan T, or Ryan Pessimistic T, gave me his score prediction. He says
there's no way.
He says 38-14 Tennessee just going to wax us. That's
wow.
Ryan Pessimistic T at its finest. Right. So unconfirmed right, but confirmed, cannot deny or take that away. I'm going to go
Texted it to you. Didn't that confirm it? Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, text it to me. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to pick Tennessee, but I will tell you, fun fact, This is the first time the Sooners have been a touchdown home underdog since November 21st of 1998 versus Texas Tech. That's how good OU has been at home. But this is going to be a truly, truly tall task. I'm taking Tennessee 38, OU 24. I just think OU's offense is going to sputter. I don't have a lot of confidence right now. I'm hoping with Nick Anderson and the boys coming back will help, but I just don't think it's enough to keep up with the firepower of Tennessee, unfortunately. 38-24.
Mark was correct, by the way. The over under set at 57.5. Me and Pat both had the over. Go ahead, Mark.
Yes, Mark.
Yeah, just real fast. Matt, after the gigantic loss you're seeing on Saturday, will you personally be escorting Brent Venables off the property to relieve him of his position, or like what's your plan there? You're obviously not behind him.
Oh, I support him all the way. I just think Tennessee is that good of a team. And I don't think OU's offense is too inept at this point, unfortunately.
Yeah,
and I don't think that's all on BV. I don't think that's all on BV.
Speaking of Brent Venables, I've been thinking about this a lot. And sorry, I'm going to talk a little bit about the offense since I came in on.
No, you're all good.
Yeah, sure. Come on.
We haven't had a single wide
Take
receiver.
over.
We've had, out of our top 6 wide receivers, Deion Burks is the only wide receiver to play an entire game. No one has seen this offense, and I'm really hopeful that that helps us in this game. Additionally, our offensive line is beaten and battered, and we're playing 2s and 3s. But when Brent Venables took the helm of this program, I had a hot take, and that hot take was we don't lose big games anymore. Brent Venables wins his big games. I think this is the biggest game that we've played since he has been a coach. Maybe you can argue Texas last year, but this is a huge game. And even though our wide receivers are hurt and battered, even though our offensive line is hurt, even though that we haven't seen our offense complete, not even like by 75% of what it can be, we've had better recruiting classes than Tennessee the last 3 years since Brent Venables has been here. There are no excuses to lose this game as Oklahoma at home. We should win this game, and I hope Brent does it.
Heck yeah, baby. I love it, dude. I'm fired up. It's going to be a lot of fun. If you are going to Norman, be sure to say hello if you see the boys. All 5 of the program guys in Norman.
Hit up your favorite program guy.
Since Bedlam 2 years ago?
Yeah, probably.
Since Bedlam 2 years ago, where we did the post-game pod from the Airbnb?
Yep.
Feels right.
Yeah?
Probably do the same thing this year.
Yeah, it's gonna be sick, dude. I'm freaking pumped, man. I'm so excited to see you guys. It's gonna be awesome. Okay, PGP MVP of the week time. Let's go, Pat. We'll start with you, man. Who's your MVP of the week, dude?
I'm manifesting Nick Anderson as my MVP of the game. So I'm going to go ahead and put Nick Anderson as my MVP this week. Hopefully he's back, healthy, 100% ready to go.
Love it. My MVP of the week is college memories. My boys that I did game day U with, I have memories popping up from our trip to Knoxville when we were in college, and the Baker Mayfield game as it was. And we did a show out there and on the hills in Rocky Top outside the stadium. I was on the field for that amazing comeback for Oklahoma, a double overtime win, the Sterling Shepard touchdown to end it. Just one of the most memorable times of my life. They checkered out the stadium. Just such a cool environment, such a cool team, such a cool program. It's just really cool to look back on those memories and say, like, people are showing the Baker Mayfield touchdown all week long. The one where he gets knocked down, he gets up and he flips the ball. And like, I still remember like it was yesterday. I'm standing there with my camera right there, and he's like looking right in my general direction as he flips the ball, not looking at me, but in my general direction.
Looking in your eyes.
Yeah, I wish. Good God. But that's just a really cool thing to reminisce on. Shout out all my game day, you guys, Carson, Clark, Reagan, Tyler, Malik. Miss you guys. You guys rock. Go ahead, Matt.
I'm going to go with Patty Gasso coming off her fourth straight national championship, getting her statue revealed last weekend in front of brand new Love Field. Well deserved, the signature pose of her holding out her hand, because she's had to do it so often because of all the home runs that OU has produced over the last 10 or so years or so. Incredible moment for her. And then obviously landing this past weekend, the 25th overall and 10th ranked pitcher in the 2026 class. Something Finch. I'm not going to say her first name. I'm not going to even try, but she just shows you why she might be, if not the best OU coach of all time in any sport. She just continues to recruit at a high level after winning so many national championships. Patty Gasso, well deserved for her statue.
As we wait on Mark to get back, he's here right now though. We'll let him get set up and ready to go. Patrick, you haven't been to Norman in a hot minute. What are you most looking forward to getting while you're there?
Queso, honestly, the Mont queso and the Mont swirls.
Okay.
I'm looking forward to it.
I'm telling Ray you said that.
I am doing my best to work in a raise, but I don't see it on my timeline yet. But I'm doing my best.
It's gonna be tough.
That's
I know.
crazy.
That's
Before meeting that Tennessee girl, it would have been the first stop.
This is a dastardly move.
Not her fault. All right.
It's
Dastardly move.
crazy the way Tennessee's done this.
Go ahead, Marcus, your MVP.
I'm gonna go LVP, and it's something we didn't get to today, but Floyd Boucard has committed from the University of Oklahoma, defensive line recruit, 4-star out of Florida. All indications now are that he'll be committing to USC, a team that Oklahoma was competing with throughout the run. So, not LVP. It's a kid making a decision, right? But sort of the situation, I guess, is the LVP. Every now and then you have one like this where it's like, man, don't make that choice. Come here where we know how to take care of D linemen. That's something we do now. Yeah. And I just don't think USC is going to be there.
Are we that impressed
LVP,
with how
Floyd in that move?
Are we impressed with how USC looks? People are picking them to make the playoff. Are they that good?
Well, I think the Big Ten is a down year too.
You think?
Yeah.
I mean, Michigan's not.
Hey, watch out for the Hawkeyes, baby.
Well, I think if they beat Michigan next week, they have a very good chance of making the playoffs.
Michigan looks like poop.
Yeah. Okay. Well, interesting. I don't know. But
not because of them, but because of the Big Ten.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. Great point, Pat.
Let us know down below in the comments. What'd you say?
Sorry, go ahead. I'm just saying they're not going to win the Big Ten.
No,
right?
They're not.
No, but the Big Ten
need to get an at-large bid.
They probably will.
I mean, it would. I don't know, man. Have you seen the top 6? It's freaking all SEC teams besides Ohio State.
Yeah,
top 7.
Yeah, I
if
don't
they remain there.
Yeah,
how's USC get there?
I don't think they do.
Great point, Mark.
Like a 2-loss or a 3-loss USC. I don't see it. But regardless, whatever. Let us know down below in the comments your MVP of the week. So excited for the game this weekend. It's going to be sick. Cannot wait for it. Be sure to like, subscribe on our YouTube channel. You can find us on all of our social media at Program Guys with a Z on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. You can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, wherever you get your podcast. That's where you can find us. Can't wait to see the boys. Going to be a great game. 6:30 kick. Be there. Be loud. Let's go. Patrick, take us out.
Keep pushing it, baby.
3, 2, 1.
There's not one guy, one person in the history of this program that's bigger than the program.
What's better than this? Guys being dudes.